will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, you Gumpers.
Hola, bom dia, alegria. Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show live stream and podcast. How are you this morning? Tudo bem? Como estás? Meetup day today. It is 19 degrees outside, 19.4. It's a cool day on the Silver Coast, which might be a blessing. Looking at doing a bit of outside broadcast action this afternoon from the world famous Palmeira Cafe in San Martino de Porto. But it's looking like one of those silvery Silver Coast days. A little bit misty. It was yesterday as well, wasn't it? Yeah, it did warm up actually yesterday afternoon. Nice, close, humid day. But today looking like a nice cool one for the meetup. So do come along. Shouldn't be too busy on the beach, but maybe it will be. I guess if people have made their plans to come and stay on holiday in San Martino de Porto, they're going to go to the beach, whatever, aren't they? So maybe see you there later on. A few people have threatened to come this morning or this lunchtime here on the 16th of August, 2023. So how are you doing today? Very reassuring to see the wise men of the Gumpocalypse already present and correct. In the chat from around 7:55 this morning. I had another solid 8 hours of sleep. Maybe these bags under my eyes will start to disappear soon. But I think it's doing me some good. I think it is doing me some good to have some extra sleep. So getting a bit more disciplined about that. And notwithstanding a few disturbances in the night of one kind or another with small children and kittens, a pretty solid 8 hours. How was your night's sleep and how are you today? Do let us know in the chat. We've got Raquel joining us from her summer holiday. How about that? I sent her a message. Look, it's okay if you're on holiday. You don't need to join us. But she is such a pro and so keen to be with us. Raquel from Lighthouse Consulting will be with us from around 9. And I think we'll chat with her about our plans to bring the respective businesses of me and Mrs. M under one roof and start a family business. Here in Portugal. Family business planning, you might say. I will talk to Raquel about the pros and cons of doing that. Both of us are contractors who issue receipts, the green receipt system, which is a nice peculiarity of Portugal. They're not green. They used to be back in the day, I think, when they were in triplicate, one for you, one for your client, and one for the government. Now it's all electronic on the finances system. However, it might be more useful for me and Mrs. M to have a joint company under which we trade. So we'll talk to Raquel about that. Any other business questions, formation of companies? You know, we've got a course at learnaboutportugal.com that you can follow that Raquel created for us. She's here in person at 9 to answer any questions about business. But really, any aspect of Portuguese bureaucratic life, if she doesn't know, she'll know someone who does know. She puts us in touch with our excellent accountant. Okay, who, like everybody else, is on holiday at the moment. And quite rightly so, because they do work very hard the rest of the year. Okay, 9:30 then, Jackie A from Expats Portugal joins us, and we'll be hanging out a bit longer. Normally, Jackie joins us at around 8:45 on a Wednesday morning to tell us what's going on the following Thursday, the webinar and the Dream Team session. Let's hang out a bit longer with Jackie A. Always good fun chatting with her and her love of Portuguese pastries and not being able to get into the bakery because of the Pope being in town, etc., etc. And occasionally her chap making a smoothie in the background while she's doing her call with us in the morning. She'll be joining us at 9:30 this morning and hanging out, telling us about how she got to be in Portugal and how she got to be a part of the Expats Portugal team as well. So looking forward to having a longer chat than usual with Jackie A and some live music. Shall I give you a little bit of a taster of the live music now? Let's see if this works. Yeah, a good test. My good friend John Clark in the UK, met him at a songwriting workshop, residential actually, with the London Songwriting Company, I think they're called. Do you remember Dancing in the City, alleys that we run through? Marshall Hayne, I believe. Now, Why am I telling you that? I think one of the songwriters of that started a songwriting residential. That's it, the London Songwriting Company. And I met John at the said residential. Great singer, songwriter, and guitarist, brilliant guitarist, and a very good songwriter too. And he still sends me songs. And I asked if I could play his songs on our show, and he's very nicely, very graciously agreed for us to do so. The track we're going to play today is called "Please Listen to Me," which is almost like a radio jingle as well as that. But here's a little blast of it.
You're looking for signs, reading between all the lines. You've made up your mind what I'm gonna say before I open my mouth. Please listen to me.
Right, that's John, and he, with his track "Please Listen to Me," and we'll play that in full at the end of the show this morning. I've only heard that 3 or 4 times, and there you go. Just like the Wildflowers and Crazy Lady, Shady Lady. Can't remember the name of the track, but I can remember how it goes. That's a sign of some good songwriting, isn't it? Where you remember the tune straight away. So please listen to me. We'll play all of that, written and performed by John at the end of the show today. So how are you doing? Do let me know. Jean's here, T-Duck's here, James is here, of course, and Capricorn Chris. Chris, I was reading of your plight this morning on the train, setbacks on the train. And I think you said something like the body odor level on the UK train this morning is currently at 8 and the levels only go up to 10. Now, what I think we can do for you, if you would like, is record, or not record, but if I call you on WhatsApp and then you put your phone on speakerphone and broadcast it to the whole train as though it were the announcements of the driver, we can say things like, "Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome aboard this Elizabeth Line train. I hope you're having a good morning this morning. We'd just like to remind all passengers that washing at the start of the day and maybe applying some deodorant is a very good idea and very considerate towards your fellow passengers. Please have a good journey." Something like that, Chris. You're very welcome. 913-590-303 if you'd like us to make some of our own not platform announcements, but in-flight service announcements for your train. We could prank them a little bit as well, couldn't we? If you want a little bit more space on the train, put the speakerphone on, and I shall say, "This is your driver speaking. Good morning on the Elizabeth Line, ladies and gentlemen. We've just had a message from the next stop where if you alight at the next stop, you'll be given a free coffee. Just please present yourself to the station buffet. Please alight at the next stop if you like a free coffee." And then you'll get the carriage to yourself, Pete. Pete, what am I saying? To you, Chris, Capricorn Chris. Let us know if you'd like us to do that. I'm seeing this in the chat. That's why I said Pete. Hola, Pete, from James this morning. Mrs. Duck and I will be at the meetup today. Excellent stuff. Looking forward to doing an outside broadcast, which we haven't done for a very long time, T-Duck. So looking forward to that later on today. I think Andy Klein will be there as well. We'll be talking about our filming schedule, which will begin in September on that first weekend Discovery Weekend in Portugal at Aroeira. If you've not been to Aroeira, south of the river in Lisbon, come join us. We'll be having some fun there from the Friday the 22nd to Sunday the 24th of September. I hesitated for a moment because I'm going to be going there before there's a bit of a man cave barbecue happening before then, I think at the end of this month, not far from Aroeira. So, Bon the Alegria Gumpers from T-Duck this morning. When was that? 5 to 8. Deep thought then. Are we looking at Tim Ferriss? We are. He's a rich seam, isn't he? A person's success in life can usually be measured by the number of uncomfortable, it's uncomfortable saying this one, uncomfortable conversations he or she is willing to have. There is some truth in that, isn't there? There's a lot of truth in that. Uncomfortable conversations. A bit like he was saying yesterday, if I remember rightly, Tim Ferriss. What was it? The painful, the things that we find difficult to do are the things we should do. It was along those lines, and having uncomfortable conversations is certainly one of them, isn't there? Putting off those conversations with people where there is a bit of a blockage in our life, perhaps. And when you rip off that elastoplast, it's often, it hurts, doesn't it, at first, but it's often better. The relief of ripping off the, what do you call them, Band-Aid in the United States can be a great relief. So good advice again from Tim Ferriss. A person's success in life can usually be measured by the number of uncomfortable conversations he or she is willing to have. And as a graduate of the Landmark Forum, where you are encouraged to have such conversations, I can tell you it is very helpful. It's not easy, but it is helpful. I imagine, James, you've urged or encouraged people, have you not, to have uncomfortable conversations in your psychotherapeutic counsel with people? Kane Sabia then this morning, since Portugal is a semi-presidential parliamentary republic, we're going through how the politics, how the political system works here, how the system of government works here in Portugal this week. Thank you to T-Duck for this. Since Portugal is a semi-presidential parliamentary republic, the Prime Minister is the head of government, the country's leading political figure and de facto chief executive. The Prime Minister is appointed by the President after having heard from the parties represented in Parliament. There is no limit to the number of terms a person can serve as Prime Minister. Antonio Costa, of course. Nothing. The reason I'm having hiccups and indigestion is nothing to do with Antonio Costa, although I do see many do have such a result when speaking of the man. But I believe he's into his second term. Usually, the person named is the leader of the largest party in the previous election, but there have been exceptions over the years. The duties of the Prime Minister are to coordinate the actions of ministers, represent Portugal to the other bodies of state, be accountable to Parliament, and keep the President informed. I wonder how he does that. Text message, WhatsApp. The official residence of the Prime Minister is a mansion next to the São Bento Palace, which confusingly is also called São Bento Palace. If he doesn't want to accept, all his Amazon parcels go missing then, don't they, to the place next door? And if he doesn't want to accept something, no, that's not for me, that's for the palace next door. No, not this São Bento Palace. The current Prime Minister, Antonio Costa, took office in November 2015. Yeah, and I think into his second term of office currently. Okay, dad jokes being squirreled away, and I'll share those with Jackie, see how she copes with those later on. Coach Turner in, bon dia Gumpers, another day to celebrate being alive. Have a wonderful day. Yes! And I think part of the reason why I didn't like sleeping very much is because I felt I was missing out. It's a bit of FOMO. But us human beings, isn't it sweet and primal that we do need to sleep? Whatever we do, eventually it catches up with us, doesn't it? And we need to sleep. And us little animals, us little skin-covered skeleton animals, human beings, hairier in some parts than others. There we are. We have to curl up at some point, don't we? Like a cat or a dog would do, or any animal for that matter, and have a little bit of a sleep. It's so lovely, isn't it? However technologically advanced we think we are, driving around in our Jetson cars these days, talking to each other on electronic boxes called telephones, we still have to do that very basic thing called sleep. And in a very basic way as well, we can celebrate being alive, can't we? All this complexity can take us away from the main business of life, which of course is to celebrate being alive. We have this self-conscious power, do we not, as human beings, which I don't think all the animals have, or they have it in different degrees to us, where not only can we be alive as human beings, we can see that we're alive as well and celebrate the fact, as Coach Turner is urging us to do. So have a wonderful day. I will join in with Coach Turner in wishing you a wonderful day. We can celebrate at the meetup today. Another day. Well done, Gumpers. You're here. God squad tip of the day. I wonder if his tip of the day, who doesn't like a tip first thing in the morning? I wonder if his tip of the day follows on from the celebration of life, the importance. Okay, we're back to sleep. Not literally back to sleep, but back to the subject of sleep. The importance of sleep was mentioned yesterday, so I did a little research so that you don't have to. God bless you, Coach Turner. I follow Dr. Rangan Chatterjee, who has an interesting podcast series. He has also published, says Coach Turner, a book about sleep. And as I was going to sleep, I don't know if this is a good idea. As I was going to sleep last night, I was listening to the Diary of a CEO podcast again. And the woman who wrote the book, Fasting for Girls, I think it's called. And sleeping and fasting. The more you sleep, the easier it is to fast, you know. There's a hack for you. Tim Ferriss would be proud of me. So 4 tips to improve the quality of your night's rest. First, failed at the first here. First, turn off all your tech 90 minutes before bed. Hold on a minute, Coach Turner. Strictly speaking, a bed is technology, isn't it? The blue light of screens affects your brain. Okay, well, I wasn't watching it. I was just listening to it. Anyway, I get the point. Second, get outside early and take in the morning light. Now, this is going to be part of my routine as well. I used to walk the dogs, didn't I, before the show rather than after the show. I'm going to start getting up earlier. So I've been enjoying my line as well as having more sleep. I've been sleep snoozing the alarm and staying in bed, not until the last minute exactly, but fairly late on into the scheme of things. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get outside early with the dogs and take in the morning light. It will help reset my circadian rhythm to a more natural state. I didn't know my circadian rhythm was out of whack, but yeah, I was talking to Henry, my trainer, about this as well. Getting up before the sun rises and literally watching the sun rise is, I think, part of this. And I suspect when we were hunter gatherers or when we were hairier and we used to sleep in piles of people in holes in the rocks, the light would have woken us up naturally, wouldn't it? And then we'd have sort of scratched and got up and watched the sun rise, perhaps, and celebrated another day not being eaten by a woolly mammoth. I know that's just a romanticization, but you get the gist. Third, go caffeine-free after midday. What? By all means, I usually have my first coffee after midday. By all means, coffee in the morning, but it affects its effects stay in the body for up to 10 hours. Doesn't affect me. Maybe I'll sleep even more deeply if I don't have coffee. I don't think I can risk that. I've certainly noticed that a coffee after dinner affects me. Not a kofti, that's a kind of kebab, isn't it? I've certainly noticed that, and hopefully we haven't confused people. Do not have a kofti kebab after midday. No, certainly do that, but don't have a coffee after midday, is Rangan Chatterjee's advice via Coach Turner this morning. And lastly, build a regular bedtime routine. Oh, matron. So that your brain knows where to start shutting down. Okay, reading a book is a good start. That's technology. That's old school technology. All those little letters on paper bound together. But again, get the point. Try these tips for a while and see if it makes a difference. I bet when books first came out, there were these, you don't want to be reading books before bedtime. It will stimulate your imagination. Don't read books after midday would have been the advice, I think, earlier on. But we take these things in our stride, don't we? Bon dia then from Capricorn 12. Chris, morning, Chris. What is that camera called you've got? I was talking to T-Duck yesterday about camera technology. What is this magical beast of a thing you have of electronics that gives you a 360-degree view of yourself while you're walking along? I think Tony Bryant's got one as well. It's witchcraft. Thanks, Coach Turner, by the way, for your sleep tips this morning. Really helpful. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for responding to the thread or the hairs that were set coursing yesterday. Excellent stuff. Okay, bon dia from Pete to you, Chris. Hope it wasn't too packed this morning. It really was. It was horribly packed this morning, judging by the report that I read. James, Ian, and T-Duck just finished 4 festas in 10 days. We were cream crackered, but it was great fun. Do we need a Cockney rhyming slang translator this morning? Cream crackered, I think you can figure out what that is, right? Coffee doesn't affect my sleep, I think James is saying a little bit later on in the chat. Raquel joining us at 9 this morning. Oh, let me spark up the old WhatsApp just in case I am getting any messages coming in on the 913 590 303. Think so. Okay, as a message coming in from Bobby O'Reilly this morning. Morning to you, Bobby. Hopefully you'll be joining us on Friday alongside Phil and the Coach Turner. You guys all right for that? Big Phil and Coach Turner. We'll talk more about sleep and Phil's steps around the UK as well. He's doing a great job. He really is amazing. Pam's in as well this morning. How you doing, Pam? Pam of the Pogues t-shirt. And Jean. Bon dia, says Jean. A todos de mon carapacho. Bon dia, says Francis. Excellent. Working and a lurking. Happy hump day, everybody, from Francis. How are you doing, mate? How's everything going? It's good to talk to you the other day. The Global Nobles are in as well. Bon dia todos. Great to see you two here. How are you? Francis from James. And bon dia, y'all, from Aviva Ocean Dweller. Hola, Aviva. And Dougie's in as well. Fantastic. Having my first post-injury holiday in Gloucestershire. Now, excellent. Did you just go on holiday there to confuse our American viewers? What? Gloucestershire, Gloucestershire, gloss on an envelope, I think, isn't it? Like Shropshire is Salop. You know, you don't see that because you don't see many letters these days. But I think the abbreviation for Gloucestershire is that GLOS on a letter. Pete will know that as well as Dougie. Less than 4 months on, it's a test to see if Portugal is doable this autumn. Come on, Dougie, you can do this. But yeah, go steady. Are you doing the God Squad program, Dougie Hughes? Let me just show you this. I think you should do this. And we'll come back to learnaboutportugal.com in a minute for the Portugal quiz question of the day. But if you have a quick look here, Dougie Hughes, you'll see the program that Coach Turner has gifted to us. And very good it is too. Let me see. These are all the various repositories of information and courses that are available over at learnaboutportugal.com. Many of them free. Some of them are levels bestowed upon the great and the good of the GMP VIP community. But look, if we click on the God Squad Gentle Fitness program here, look at this. Why don't you give this a go? You can have a giggle with me doing fartleks there, Dougie. This, I think, would be good for you. But as you can see on the screen there, build slowly, and if it hurts, stop. You might want to consult your physiotherapist as well to see if they think this is a good idea. We'd be very interested to know what your physio thinks of this. And there he is. Look, there, I think you'll see in a moment the leader, the creator. Where's he gone? I think there was a picture of Ian here before. Anyway, oh, there he is. Invest in your health. A fantastic picture of Coach Turner sat on his exercise bike there, looking very teacherly, trainerly right there. So there you go. I shall put the link to that in the chat now, Dougie, especially for you, my friend, which I think you, well, I think you should take a little bit of advice from your physio, but to basically have a look, see if that might be useful for you to build up a little bit more strength, core strength, and stamina. And it is gentle fitness for bon viveurs, which of course you are. Dougie, keep up the good work, my friend, and have a great holiday in Gloucestershire. Bizarrely, says Pete, when we lived in tribes, we all got up at different times of night, usually for a few hours. It's like Pete was there. It ensured the group were always watched and actually makes you feel so much fresher. Have you tried this, Pete? Or is that how you live now in central Portugal? like a hunter-gatherer? Like a paleo guy? Paleo Pete? Paleolithic Pete in central Portugal. Victoria Benson. Hola, bon dia, kids, from a sunny Portimao. Thanks for that, Pete. All coming, I suspect, from your time at the Chalk Face, telling the kids about these sorts of things. Andy Klein, good morning, everyone. On the train heading to San Martino de Porto. Excellent, Andy. See you soon. And Pete, I spent a month living with a... Oh, okay. This isn't your past life regression therapy, but you I was going to say you slept with a tribe in Kenya. Not quite like that. But you were all looking out for each other, and you did the night shift, did you? A month living with a tribe in Kenya. Tell us more. Or do you say, like an old colonial fart, Kenya? You know how some people say Kenya and Rhodesia? Do you say Kenya or Kenya? I wonder. Doesn't impact my sleep. Also, circadian rhythms. Cheers for that, Pete. And good morning to you, Andy. Also, circadian rhythms, darkening your environment and quieting activity as you approach sleep time. Close curtains, reduce lighting. Okay, get it. Not shutting. That could have gone horribly wrong, couldn't it? But thank you for that. Yes, work with your circadian rhythms, not against them. All of the talk of sleep is making me, says Pam. Morning, Raquel. See you in just a moment. And yeah, there's the link for the God Squad program. Very good it is too. Thanks, Carl and Ian. Yeah, take a look, Dougie. See what you think of that. And hola, James from Ocean Dweller Aviva. Global Nobles is Good Morning Portugal group on Strata. Speaking of fitness, Strava. It's not currently. Is that going to be a good idea for us? Are there other people who want to share their fitness notes? I'm presuming that's what it is. It's like Fitbook or Facebook for faddies and fiddies, possibly. over there at Strava. Tell us more, will you, please, Global Nobles? I'm up for that. I've downloaded my Fitness Pal, I think it is, to my phone on the instruction of my trainer, who's now back in the UK, and I will be embarking on some pretty serious fitness work soon. Yeah, my Fitness Pal. Ian, what do you think of that? Same thing as my Fitness Pal. Okay. What does it mean, Global Nobles, that we can connect with each other and compare notes? I'd find that helpful, actually, when I start going to the gym not for the first time. I once used to go to the gym because I slept in my office for a little while, which is another story. But I used to go to the gym so I could have a shower in the morning. Swim a few lengths. Raquel's a bit shocked by this. Swim a few lengths, do some work on the cross dresser. Is that what it's called? No, the cross trainer, and then get in the shower or the sauna, and then go to work. This time I do not have to sleep in my office. Not that it would sometimes be a good idea with all the racket going on in our house sometimes, but I'm going to go and use the gym properly soon under supervision. Wish me luck. And those of you who've been doing it for years, perhaps we can connect on Strava. Yes, says Global Nobles. It goes by GPS and it's free. I'll have to have a look at that. Thank you very much. Sue's with a weather report from Central. Sunny with haze, maybe smoke over the Serra Estrella here and Bon Dia. Be careful. Make sure you've got the Fogosh.pt app, everybody, after that chilling conversation. A chilling conversation about the heat of wildfires with Louise yesterday. And I put that clip up on. They're always very popular. The anything that talks about the wildfires in Portugal seems to be very popular on YouTube. As a teacher, it's Ask About Portugal Wednesday. Ask about anything to do with business or being American from 9:30 when we have Jackie joining us. But anything about business in a minute or two when Raquel joins us. As a teacher for 30 years, I had a lot of time off, says Pete. The posher the school, the longer the holidays. That sounds like advice from a university lecturer when you're doing your PGCE, isn't it? Do you know what, Peter? The posher the school, the longer the holidays. My advice to you, my boy, is to get a job in a minor public school, and then you'll never have to work again. No, the most expensive was 1 day in 3 working. Wow, you worked 1 day in 3. That's the lifestyle of the rich and famous, isn't it? And the toffs. So I have taught in Asia, Africa, and Russia voluntarily as well. Oh, bless you, Pete. That sounds amazing. And spent time with the tribe in Kenya as well, as we've discovered this morning. I've sent you a few videos and pictures, Carl. My favorite is a little girl just dancing for joy. Love Festa, love Portugal. Cheers, Pete. Thank you very much. It has aged me. That's hilarious, Pete. Your Festa schedule. I've got to show that immediately now. That's superb. All from Jess. Jess, where are you? Are you joining us at the meetup today? Just very quickly, we'll come back to your pictures, Pete, of the Festas, or we'll carry those forward to tomorrow. But this one is amazing. You and Andy, after being at the Festas for the last 10 days, you say it's aged you. I would say it's given you a certain youthful zing as well. What app is that? We've got to get other gumpers in this condition, haven't we? That's somewhat horrific, but charming as well in its own sort of way. Nice big round of applause. Wrong jingle. Nice big round of applause for Raquel. Wasn't that horrible? What's that?
A little bit scary. I would say.
How are you doing?
Good. Just about to go on another week's vacation, so I couldn't be any better.
Oh, fantastic! And thank you so much for joining us while you're away on your summer holiday.
No, that's okay.
You sent us some beautiful video, which I might hold and share tomorrow or later after you've gone, because we might have lots of questions about starting a business. And other things. I mean, you're an all-rounder at Lighthouse Consulting, aren't you? You can help expats, foreigners, immigrants with all aspects of moving to Portugal, certainly starting a business, but all sorts of signposting you do for those folks. And you're having a well-earned rest. Where are you at the moment, or where have you been?
No, I'm at home. I'm in Cascais right now.
But you've been
I've had a week's vacation. It was supposedly a trip in camper van and like in Jerez for a week. And so Sunday, right, like an hour before we were to pick up the camper van, the lady called me and said that the previous clients had busted the engine. So poor
No.
thing. And like in an hour or two, we had to reschedule everything and rethink all our holidays. But it ended up being, usually when these things happen, I always think it's for the best. It's saving me for of something. And we ended up staying in Tabua, which is right, it's near like Serra da Estrela, right in the center of the country. And each day we visited a river beach or a forest beach, and it was incredible. I had never gone like to see the waterfalls and all of that, and it's such an immense beauty to be in nature and to hear the sounds of the waterfalls and all that might. I
Oh, yeah.
feel completely rejuvenated. It's incredible. It's an incredible. It is an incredible country. I mean, and I'm Portuguese. I've lived here all my life, and there's still so many things that I don't know. So you can never get enough of Portugal, to be honest. It's great. And so now I'm off for a week to the Algarve for proper beach holiday, and that's it.
Oh, good for you. So you're being traditionally Portuguese, having a proper holiday in August. I'm
Well,
so pleased for you because you this last year has been intense. You've helped a lot of people, haven't you? And it's
yeah,
early days for your own business as well, of course, isn't it? And I think you've been incredibly busy,
yeah,
helping all sorts of people with all sorts of projects. Some very interesting things that you've been involved with as well from previous conversations we've had. But if we could dwell for a moment on your holiday schedule, did you say Tabua?
Tabua,
TAB.
yeah.
That is the very first place I went to when I visited Portugal in
Really?
in
Wow.
2007. I went to what's called a woofing quinta, where they hosted woofers, the working weekends on organic farms. And I was there with Sophie, who created Pure Portugal, at Quinta das Abelhas, Quinta, the honeybee farm. Which it's not in the town. It's out, it took some finding actually first time, but I was again like you. I was similarly blown away by the depth of nature there, the glory.
Really?
Yeah, and still got a recording of a soundscape that I used to do. That's where I really started doing podcasting back in those days. And there was a moment we were staying in a yurt, of course, on this quinta.
As one does.
As one does in central Portugal on a woofing weekend, and I could hear this whistling, and someone in the valley took what, and a dog barking, and it was a goat herder moving across the valley, and it was incredible. All the other dogs, and the dogs in the other villages started barking as the goat herder came through, and you could hear it panning from left to right across the landscape. And just the most beautiful sound of the goats, trudging through the valley, the farmer or the herder whistling, and the dogs
Wonderful.
barking. I must find it. It's just so evocative of that time. And I imagine, even though that's some time ago now, 2007. My goodness, when I first came to Portugal, I imagine it hasn't changed very much over there. This is a kind of timeless place, isn't it?
But yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that tourism has upkept some areas, of course, and there's new hotels, there's new ventures, there's new things. But in the heart of it, it's just forest, rivers, springs, and it's wonderful. And there's such a traditional community in those places that actually keep up with everything. And you see, if you go there in August, all the immigrants come in. So everybody that's from Portugal, that's in France or Switzerland or whatever they are, in the month of August, they all return. And so these, as small as villages as they may be, they fill up with people and with families and with people gathering. And there's the festas. It's beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah. Quite amazing. And you have stimulated others to speak of their joy of the Portuguese countryside here as well. Bom dia a todos. Estão bela manhã, says Bob. Raquel, we lovely to see you, Bob. Raquel, we love the river beaches here. That's up in Ponte Lima, so cool and refreshing. And you'd have gone to
Oh,
those, I guess, if you'd made it to the not the Serra, the Peneda Gerês.
it is. Yeah, we didn't, but I think it was a similar holiday, even if in a different region.
Yeah, there are some beautiful river beaches in central and northern Portugal, says Pamela as well. And you say it was a camper van,
Yeah.
a rental of a camper van. That
Yeah.
seems to be becoming more and more popular in Portugal.
Well, I've never done it, and I don't know if it was like the universe saving me from the experience. I've never done it, and we were, 5 of us going. But my reasoning with it is because I've always wanted to know Jerez, but it's really far away from me. Again, I'm Portuguese, remember that. So anything further than half an hour away, it's a long way. But with the kids, they don't. The kid now have the excuse of the kids not handling the trips very well as well. And so my plan was to stop along the way in various cities and towns, and so that it would make it easier. But it wasn't in the cards, and we substituted it with a marvelous time in central Portugal. We had a stop in Coimbra. We went to see Portugal dos Pequeninos,
Oh, excellent.
which I'd never gone as well, and the kids loved it, of course. And I finally found houses my own size.
Oh, we've not met in real life. Are you quite a pequeño yourself?
Yeah, I usually say that I'm 160, so a meter 60, but I think it's like a centimeter shorter than that.
You felt very at home in the miniature village.
I did. I mean, everybody went like this, going through doors, and I was like, I don't know.
For you, the whole world should be built like that. For you, oh, superb. James, loving a conversation about nature. Iverdad, the energy of nature. And Jerez is absolutely on my list. Funnily enough, that was one of the first places when we came to live. So not only did you go to Tabo, where I first visited, but when we drove to Portugal to come and live here, Jerez was the first place we stayed as well. So that's quite spooky this morning. And yeah, I would urge anyone to get that on their list. Jerez. Michael Whitby, good morning to you. Thank you for your messages. Good to hear of excellent progress. Bon dia todos. Up watching for the meteor shower. You're a little bit late. Oh, over where you are. Like if you're up watching for the meteor shower in Portugal, you're a little bit late, perhaps. It's not going to be that easy to see. Amazing. And what a shame that it looks like some people abuse camper vans as well. Look, come on, folks, don't do that. There are people, the same with rental cars, isn't it? There are people using these vehicles after you, spare a thought, and it sounds like somebody trashed the camper van.
They trashed it, and it was the company's name is Let's Go Camping, and it's a girl that she does all the restoration work herself. She's restored like 4 or 5 vehicles herself, so I really wanted to support her.
Yeah.
They have like a vintage look, and she was, I mean, the poor thing, she was devastated, and I was more devastated for her because I'm still going on holidays wherever it is, but she was left without one van and without the money of our week, and with no way of repairing that. So I mean, in the end, it didn't have air conditioning, so I think it saved us from something, but I really wanted to have that experience. I really wanted to have that experience in Jerez because I think it's a great location to do that. And I really like to support these small businesses, and especially women business. And considering that she did all the work herself, I mean, that's incredible. But in the end, it wasn't possible.
This is the company.
Exactly. The one that we were about to rent is the blue one. It's the blue. Yeah.
Oh, I see. So they're retro vans. You make a good point there. The older ones don't have air conditioning, so that could have been a little bit difficult, couldn't it?
Yeah. Well, we were in Jerez. It's not as hot, but I don't know. I think it's she's restored it. They look great.
They do, don't
They take animals as well, so she supports that as well. And in the end, it wasn't possible. I hope that she managed to get it up to speed and to recover from it, because it's just such a shame. People just use it and they don't care. And she doesn't take a how do you call it, a
they?
deposit, a big deposit. It's like 100 euros or something. So
Oh,
it's not nearly enough to cover any expense.
I think there are going to be people here who are going to see this and want to support Let's Go Camping.pt. What's her name, Raquel?
I don't know. I don't remember. Sorry.
It's
My
the owner of this company that we're yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned that
If
you
you
were
go,
sorry, go on.
if you go, I follow her on Instagram. And I mean, I message her back and forth all the time. But I really don't remember. But it was just such a shame. Look at that. It fit
I love
six
it.
people. That fits six people. So three on the top
Yeah.
and three below. And it would, I think it's still a great company, and I really hope that she recovers from that.
I hope so too. I mean, one of the things that might have happened, or there's a classic camper van view. I remember that from ours when you're lying in bed and you throw up the back door and you can just watch the world go by, and that's kind of a retro roof rack tent by the look of it. There's
Mhm.
so higher as well. This is a great company, great idea, love it, and the fact that they welcome pets and animals.
Animals,
You
yeah.
want breakfast in the morning, sleep in the kitchen tonight. That's some good life advice right there. Look at all these fantastic places where she's taken her own vans and done some photo shoots. We know that, don't we? That's probably Monsanto, isn't it? Or not far from, looking at the
Yeah, yeah.
real bridge there. I could look at these pictures all day. They're fantastic. And she's done a fabulous renovation
A
on these.
fantastic job, a fantastic job. Alone, mind you, she did it all with her own two bare hands. So amazing.
Incredible woman. What an incredible woman. When I was coming through the Gires with our Mazda Bongo, I did start to smell a strange fragrance aroma. And I realized why there were some extra numbers on my gearbox, on the automatic gearbox. And we were
Mm-hmm.
coming, I think I burnt the gearbox a little bit. And so maybe that's what can happen. You've got to learn how to drive these things properly as well, which I don't think I did. It was incredible. It was the smell of eucalyptus, pine, those alpine smells of the Gires, and some Mazda Bongo gearbox as well, because I didn't adjust the gears appropriately. And then the next day, I had to climb out of. It was my first experience, Raquel, of these very steep car parks that you have here in Portugal. It
Yeah.
was one of the steepest. I was so scared about getting out of this car park, having had the experience of stressing the gearbox the day before, that I actually asked the family to wait for me at the top of the slope and got them all out. And then I drove.
Yeah, yeah.
It was
I hear you.
terrifying. It was terrifying. And then I thought, okay, that's just the north of Portugal. And then I experienced this in a Lisbon car park. Later, the engineering of car parks is extraordinary here in Portugal. And another thing you were saying that I'd love to pick up on is how if it's more than half an hour away, for Portuguese people, that's too far, is it? And I'm astounded. I've talked to Vitor Costa about this, and I say, "Oh, are you going to come to Tamar and meet us over there for our meetup or whatever?" And he said, "Oh yeah, I've never been there." I'm like, "What? You're Portuguese? You haven't been to Tamar or Palha de Jerez?" But that's not unusual, is it? I think Portuguese people,
No, not at all.
yeah, it's incredible. So
No.
half an hour is the threshold, is it?
Well, for me, it's gone from half an hour to 1 hour, so I'm getting better. And and certainly these holidays, we stayed in Tábua, but we went to a series of beaches, and the farthest away was like 40 minutes or 50 minutes or whatever, and we did it okay. It was fine. I mean, it's a serra, right? So
Yeah.
the roads are loads with curves, and it's very steep and all of that. So I and the roads are not at all bad in Portugal. I mean, we have a great infrastructure, a great road infrastructure. Um, I've come to realize that that's something that I have to overcome. So I'm like slowly wrapping my head around, like, let's have lunch in Liria, or let's have lunch in Alentejo, or something like that. And I will get there, Carl.
It's amazing because to the American mind, it's like, what? An hour away is a lot.
Yeah, I mean, they go for a coffee an hour away, right?
I'm going to Texas now. It's only I'm going to Texas for a coffee, or I'm going to the other side of Texas for a coffee. Americans, I think, 2 or 3 hours for a night out, no biggie.
I know.
The roads are built for it, aren't they? I suppose the vehicles and the roads are built for that American experience. So it's a little
Sure.
bit, but it's so interesting, isn't it? What we grow up with and what our cultural expectation is that we the water that we swim in that makes us not challenge this sort of pre-existing.
And there's a lot of places like Portugal dos Pequeninos, or Coimbra, or whatever. There's a lot of places that the Portuguese only visit because at school it's like mandatory visits. Like they have like field trips.
Yes.
And so there's a Palácio, all the Sintra palaces, and Batalha, and all of that stuff. I'm pretty sure that the only reason that we do know them is because when we were at school, we had to go to the field trips, and they were like mandatory. Otherwise, there would be a lot of things that we would miss.
Those do seem to be an amazing institution. The Portuguese school trip. I see kids coming to the bay here, and all around the country I've seen it. And Scouts are the same. It's not unusual, is it, for very young children to be put on a bus and taken to another corner of Portugal? So not necessarily with their parents, but with the school. You might go.
School. With school and long stretches, because they go very slow. It's a big van. And even in the summer, I mean, bless them, they take like all the kids to the beach like every morning. What? How can they do that?
Yep, it's incredible. So shout out to the teachers having a well-earned break at the moment. Yeah, incredible. We will have a look at your course. It's just a very interesting talking about Portuguese culture always with you. I do have a couple of video clips here. They are quite brief, but perhaps you can tell us where these places are. Let's start with the first brief clip. Let's have a look at this. I'm getting refreshed just hearing and seeing that. Where was that?
No, it is. I went to 4 different beaches. I went to Vimiero, Secadas, Poço da Broca, and the other one that I really don't remember. I think I sent you the names. My memory is not, it's Dory.
Castelheira, Vimiero, de Loriga, and de Broca.
Loriga, exactly. And I think that was Secadas. It was one of the bigger ones. The first one that we went to is Poço da Broca. It was the most natural one. It was a very, very small one. But it was fantastic. I mean, it was like, we were like, there were like 4 of us or something. There's a restaurant there. It's a great restaurant named Guarda Rios. And it was like being like completely immersed in the mountains, in the forest, and then in the spring, and just listening to that sound for 2 hours of the water hitting the pebbles and the rocks and all of that it's like you said, it's a soundscape. I mean, so we were immersed for 2 hours in a soundscape. You cannot not leave that place relaxed. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful therapy.
Yeah, it is. I could just feel it from watching the clip. Here's another one.
Wonderful.
Great
I mean, come
photography
on.
as well. I love your reveals there. You got a close up, haven't you? Pan out. Very good, very good.
I have to study that. I mean, I have so many things to do. One of them is learn how to shoot, learn how to edit properly. So, it's a process.
Raquel, we've got how to make great movies with your video, with your phone camera.
I know, and I started it.
It's
I
getting
know.
the time, isn't it? It's getting the time. Okay, and another one here. Here's the natural looking one, I think. I just want to get in the car. I want to get in the car and go there now. It just looks so refreshing, such fun, doesn't it? I remember you've got to be a little bit careful with the river beaches. I put my kids in their floaties or whatever they're called, the buoyancy aids, and there are currents on rivers, aren't there? They're not dangerous. But kids can end up with other families if you don't watch out, drifting down. They'll be looked after. They'll be looked after. Well. It's fine, but you've got to be a little bit, or maybe have some reins or something on the smaller kids. When you stick it with a rubber ring, like off they go. But
just write the phone number, right?
Yeah, in case of loss, ring this WhatsApp number. And yeah, people watching out for each other's kids, obviously, as you do it in Portugal. Really, really lovely experience to go to a river beach in Portugal. Fantastic. Pete, I think, put a message in about that and something about Baywatch or something similar. All this is making me miss my van, however, going back to the earlier comments and pictures. We'll get another one once I know this is my forever home. Make it so.
Exactly.
Yes. Great secret. What's this here on Madeira? The ocean is warm. Lucky you. I was in warm water at the weekend where Salida de Porto meets San Martino de Porto. I'll bring your kids over here, Raquel, as well on one of your holidays.
That was a chance, actually. This I thought about you guys because that was one hypothesis was to go there.
Oh, excellent. Well, you must do that at some point. And it is within your hour threshold.
It is.
Sue, thanks for your pictures. Sunny, hazy view today, currently 18, a high of 29. That's quite cool for you, I think, over there in Central at the moment. Well, good for you, because I know that's not your favorite weather when it gets up into the 30s and 40s, Suze. Here are the pictures. Oh, no, I've got too many pictures. I've officially overloaded. And I've got all sorts that I need to be sharing this morning. So, Suze, we'll do those tomorrow, or I'll do a bit of a rejig remix, and we'll get those in before the end of the show. But thank you for your weather forecast from Central there. Weight training. Oh, we were talking earlier on about fitness and weight training. Go to the gym, of course. Weight training is important. We lose so much muscle as we age. I think after 40, it starts to go, and it's good to do a bit of strength training, isn't it? Fitness. I wear a Fitbit, walk daily, get to the gym, and partake in yoga. Now, Fitbits, those watches with that measure your steps and stuff, I haven't got anything like that. I've got my first set of scales in my life because they came with the house. Do you think I need to get a Fitbit, everybody? Have you got something like that, Raquel? Do you bother with such things?
No. I'm actually in boxing now. I mean,
really?
I thought really, yeah, in kickboxing.
Okay.
I think it meshes up the stress reliever quality of fitness and the muscle gaining component of that as well. Okay. I think those instruments are very good for the professionals, for people that really know what they're doing, that they know that the measurements are, a dynamic thing. Otherwise, I think you can get caught up in those sorts of measurements and feel down or feel too up when, this is all a process. It's the journey. It's not the end goal. So I think those are probably more stress inducers than really give you out any relevant information.
Yes, good point. I don't think I want something on my wrist that's it's a bit like a clock. I mean, it's you and clocks, isn't it? Yes, you do. Yes, I remember now. So you don't want an instrument of torture on your wrist as well as on
no, not at all. Not at all.
I'm with you on that. I am open to being persuaded otherwise, but I've never had anything like that. Never been interested in all this data and measurements, but it might have to be a part of this new approach. We shall see about that. Bob rented one of those roof rack pop-ups back in 82 on a Ford Fiesta. Wow. A less than a litre of power there, all over Central Europe. Fantastic experience. That does sound great in 82. I know Portuguese people who live in Alcobaça and go on holiday to San Martino de Porto and actually stay there. Oh, that's so sweet, isn't it? No, I'm not laughing at them. I'm laughing with them. I think that's lovely. And it's not unusual, is it? There she is. She's back again. It's not unusual for Portuguese people to have a holiday home within half an hour of driving, right? That's really sensible, isn't it, in a way?
There are people that live in Lisbon and have homes here in Cascais.
Yeah, there you go. So it's a very different way of looking at the world. Jess, Bob, Jess, Carl, driving across Texas is a very long and slow experience, even at 130 kph. Yeah, I was exaggerating the point there, but you guys do go for dinner, don't you, and drive 2 or 3 hours and think nothing of it. Look at this. Here's an example. Our sailboat is just 6.5 hours away.
My God.
Yes, exactly. My God, Michael Whitby.
That's like another world,
isn't it?
Could have been in the moon.
Yes. Hola, bom dia, pessoal. Morning to you. Hola, bom dia. Filomena, desejam boa quarta-feira a todos. Thank you, Filomena. We'll be going to the schist villages with Filomena. We might have a date change on that. Stay tuned. But the schist villages and the Berrau factory, the Nectar nursery, as T-Duck put it. I see the kids from the elementary school here walking hand in hand in pairs into town for various events. Isn't that lovely? Quite right too. It has been quite mild most of the summer here. A couple of weeks in the 1990s is all. Our house never did heat up too far before cooler weather came in. Oh, you say you didn't get that greenhouse effect up there in Ponte Lima. Filomena, greetings to you from Pete. And as I understand, it says James, splashing water generates negative ions, which stimulate positive feelings and energy. Yes! Let's have more of that. Okay. And Jess is hoping to visit Madeira and enjoy that warm water. Marcianas orca zebras alcochet in 10 days. We know now tudo a noite, word for word, and can avoid a bull or 3. You really are escalating your Portuguese, your level of Portugueseness, I think there, Pete. Good effort, my friend. And the Global Nobles, your phone will do everything that a Fitbit will do except tell you your heart rate. Again, do I need to know that? I guess you do sometimes, of course. If that's useful to you, you get the Fitbit, because is there not an app? I guess you need a probe of some sort, don't you? Or connection to your body to figure out your heart rate. So thank you to you, Global Nobles, for your information on that. And thanks for the reminder, T-Duck, to smash that like button. We better let you go and get on the road to the Algarve. Sorry we didn't talk about business. We will
that's fine.
Other fun stuff, but you can find, of course, Raquel's business course, How to Start a Business in Portugal, over at learnaboutportugal.com, where the aforementioned God Squad courses and how to make movies with your phone as well. So there you go. It's all free over there on learnaboutportugal.com. Have a super time. Raquel, and we'll see you when you get back. And I'll play more of your videos as the week unfolds from refreshing Central Portugal. Big round of applause for you. Ciao, ciao. Bye-bye. There she goes. Always great fun talking to Raquel. And what a lovely experience as well to look at. This the thing she nearly did. If not for somebody ruining one of those vans. But what was it? Let's Go Camping. Yeah, Let's Go Camping Portugal in Facebook. And I will give you a link to them in case you're struggling to find them. And sorry for those of you who don't use Facebook. I can't find them any other way this morning. But that Facebook link that's going in now is for Let's Go Camping. Those beautifully refurbed camper vans done by the lady who you saw in the pictures, no doubt. Antonio F is here this morning as well. Good morning to you, Antonio. And Sarah Yerman. How are you, Sarah? Bob, as she says, riding a bike across Texas really takes forever. You go through California and Arizona just fine. New Mexico is okay. And then Texas! Wow. Have you actually done that? How many of the states have you biked across, Sarah Yerman, you legend? I rarely go anywhere more than 30 minutes drive away. That's acclimatization. You're becoming more Portuguese, aren't you, by the day, Pam? And lots of schist houses. Always got to be careful how I read that out in this area. Most are fixer-uppers, as need a new roof and trees growing inside. But they're still lovely, says Suze. Let me see if I can bring on your pictures as we await the arrival of Jackie this morning. What are these? Are these from yesterday? Because I know I've got. Oh yeah, this was from the show yesterday, wasn't it? When we had Louise on. So let me just remove a few pictures, and then we can look at making space for some of the new ones. In fact, while I'm doing that, why don't you enjoy yourself looking at this? Oh, sorry, at this picture here of Pete and Andy, who are a little bit exhausted. by the events of recent times. Yeah, I need to make way for the visual dad joke, courtesy of Super Slug as well this morning. Oh my goodness. Yes, I really must empty out my picture deck more often. Not a euphemism. This morning, so that I can show you other people's pictures that have been coming in on 913-590-303, including these beauties from Suze this morning, and the visual dad joke from James as well, who really should be here to take responsibility for this. Okay, the first from Suze then. This is the view in Central Portugal this morning. Where are you? There you are. With your comment on the screen as well. Suze has sent that in 913-590-303. Jackie struggling a little bit with her camera. No worries, Jackie. We'll see you when we see you. Just take your time. Tranquilo. Calma. It'll all happen. We've seen you so many times on the screen. I'm sure it's just a matter of hitting the right button. So take your time. We'll see you soon. View from the sofa this morning and the haze. Here's the other one from Suze. Do love to receive your pictures. And look at that. How lovely. Central Portugal. I can feel it. Having been there, having talked about Tabua this morning with Raquel, it's that similar sort of vibe out there in Central Portugal. Have a great day over there, Suze. Thank you very much for that. And the visual dad joke from James this morning. Oh, that's good. I'm covering up the punchline for the moment. It was so cold yesterday, my computer froze. Really? Yep, my own fault, though. I left too many windows open. Not going to be happening in Portugal, but we do get it. Some of us who've lived in colder climates. Thank you very much for that. No warning issued before that. Sorry, everybody, if that took you by surprise. Is that the Gollum app? It looks like it might be, doesn't it? Please let us know what happened there. We don't think it's just the fact that you've done 10 days straight of festa partying. Let's go and have a look at the quiz question of the day today. Then, while I put the furniture back around the screen and get rid of a few more pictures as we're speaking this morning. And actually, given that it is Ask Anything About Portugal Wednesday, sometimes forget that as we get carried away in conversation. I've got some questions that have come in over on YouTube overnight, but let me do the Portugal quiz question of the day. And forgot yesterday to post up the question the night before, so let's go back to that one as well and ask you how long the Volta a Portugal is. Which was question yesterday. Learn about Portugal quiz for the 15th of August 2023. Simply, how long is the Volta a Portugal cycle tour? Now, when I put this up yesterday, we had guesses in days, 4 days, 10 days, and I actually meant how many kilometers or miles is it? We'll leave that hanging there, and Sarah might know the answer to that. And today's quiz question, Learn About Portugal quiz for the 16th of August 2023. Let me zoom into this because that's the all-important picture for you. Yes, that is a post-it note over the image there that would give the game away. I went to Salgado Beach, which is the beach you can see there. The very mystical and perilous, it has to be said, beach on the Silver Coast here. I don't think I would swim there. Some people do. Some people have met their end in the waters there. You have to be really careful at Salgado, which that is. And the quiz question today then is spotted at the magical and perilous Silver Coast beach of Salgado on the Silver Coast here. What are these red objects in the first image available for the use of visitors? What are they, I wonder? I think they're sponsored by Vodafone there and put there by Nazare Camera. And while we're about it, look, these taken the same day, pictures at Salgado Beach. There's a really nice place to put your camper van there as well, we noticed while we were there. And also urging you to take away not just your own waste, but how about when you're taking your own trash, rubbish, leisure, you take 3 other bits as well. That's the way to get the beach clean, isn't it? And we're either going to live in a world, aren't we, of like, no, I'm not picking up other people's rubbish. And so the rubbish just stays there. Or yes, some people just are not as well educated or careful or whatever, fill in the blank, as we are, perhaps. So we all forgive them like prodigal children, and we'll pick up their rubbish for them for the sake of having a clean beach. And not be too virtue signally about it or righteous. But there's your quiz question for today. We have Wednesday, the 16th of August. Salgado Beach, what are those red objects that you can pick up and use at the beach there? Probably not the only place in Portugal, to be fair, to have those, but it was certainly the first place where I had counted them. Jackie's still struggling a little bit with her camera. Jackie, I can probably hear you. I'm going to bring you on.
Yeah.
Jackie,
So
good morning to
sorry.
you. Don't you worry. It's fine. We can hear you. And we've also got an image of you on the cover of Vision magazine. How are you this morning?
I'm good. Struggling with my camera. I think it's time to upgrade my computer.
Is that what it might be?
Oh, yeah, this is an old one, and it's causing me too much stress.
No, I understand. It is a bit stressful, isn't it, when you're trying to get on screen and the basics won't work. But we can hear you loud and clear, so no problem there if you're happy to continue like this.
I'd love to.
Okay, great to see you. We know that Cascais has gone back to its original state, notwithstanding holiday tourists. Of course, the Pope has returned home. How are things on the streets of your town at the moment?
Much calmer. I no lines. Beautiful. One of the things I've come to accept that still surprises me is how the Portuguese vacation in their own country.
Yeah.
So every morning by 9 o'clock, maybe 9:30, the beaches are packed with Portuguese people. These are not the tourists. I mean, I guess they're tourists, but within Portugal.
Yes.
And it's so surprising. They are like people stake out their territory early in the morning.
Oh, really? Tell us about that. What were towels or setting up little camps and so on?
Everything. And you can go at almost 10 o'clock at night and the beaches are still packed.
Yeah.
It's so surprising because I think, oh, I want to take a walk on the beach early with the dogs. There won't be any people. There's tons of people.
Yes. And is this your first summer here? It is, isn't it?
No. I've been here since 2020.
Oh, of course you have. Yeah, you arrived in the lockdown, didn't you?
Yeah.
So, but things might have changed a little bit since then. And of course, this is an August phenomenon. It won't be like this in September and certainly not in October, will it?
No, but it's interesting to see the buildup from the pandemic.
Yes.
The streets were so empty. And suddenly, every single summer, you have seen a change in the population in terms of it gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's interesting. I do live in a tourist town. It has finally dawned on me.
Yeah, and you do have to make an adjustment for it, don't you? Go with the flow or get out of town, I suppose, in August.
Yeah. And the good thing is in Cascais, because it's such a tourist town, most things are still open, as opposed to other parts of Portugal. August, most things are closed. So there's some advantage to having the tourists here in.
And walking your dogs then, do you have to put them in the car and go off somewhere else where it's a bit quieter? Have you found such a place?
Well, what I like to do also is Guincho, but Guincho is a very windy beach. So you have to have the surfing app, or it's like a wind tunnel and you'll be blown away. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know if you've ever biked along the coast, but there's this one turn. Yeah, you make one turn and it's literally like being in a wind tunnel and it's very sudden. So you really should have your app.
Yes. Okay. Fair enough. Thanks for the warning on that. Okay. So, yeah, summer in Cascais. You're dealing with that at the moment. And yeah, the Pope's safely back home, and you'll. I guess when will you experience the peace that you love about the place? Presumably, you have your sweet spot of the levels of tourism that you like there. What will that be? Will that be a September, October sort of time?
Yeah, I think it's a great time in about September to visit because you still have that great summer energy,
Yeah.
but the streets aren't as crowded.
Same here.
Um, so
Yeah.
yeah, oh really? So
Same
that's
here.
your experience. Yeah, there's
Oh
always
yes.
this, I guess they call it the shoulder seasons.
That's right. I only learned
Yeah.
about that phrase from Clive Gardner, one of our gumpers, talking about the shoulder. Yeah, it's the side the shoulders each side of the head of the holidays, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. But one of the things also that I remember about moving here in 2019 is how people talked about the tourists and how they made comments like, there's so many tourists, I don't even recognize my own town.
Hmm.
Nobody even speaks Portuguese. And then the pandemic came and the tourists were gone, which meant that all the money coming in from the tourist industry was gone with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the shift to, we love the tourists, bring the
Come
tourists
back.
back, come back,
Yeah.
and so that was very interesting. So I'm kind of waiting to see how long it takes for the locals to hate the tourists again. But
It'll
the
happen.
memories are short.
Yeah.
Memories are very short. So
So true. And I'm having a quick look at a Portugal resident article, apparently reported 2 days ago. Overnight stays in Portugal surpassed pre-pandemic levels, except in the region of the Algarve. Overnight stays in Portugal grew 18.8% in the first half of the year, surpassing 2019 levels for the first time, corresponding to increases in nearly 32% in total revenue and 34% in revenue from accommodation. The INE statistics Institute announced today. So that, yes, we are getting back to that point where, of course, oh, what happened there? You still there, Jackie?
yes, yes.
Yeah, we are getting back to that point, I think, where there's going to be the love-hate relationship will swing a little bit towards the familiarity breeding contempt. Let's put it that way, which is, of course, all part and parcel all over the world of, I think, any tourist-based town or experience or seaside town. Excellent stuff. We are getting questions coming in, Jackie, that you might be able to help with. It is Ask Anything About Portugal Wednesday. We've had our business section with Raquel, albeit talking mainly about camper vans and beautiful parts of Portugal and how Portuguese people go up to an hour away from home if they're really adventurous, or just half an hour for regular Portuguese folks.
Yeah,
Pam
true.
was like that, though. She's becoming quite Portuguese and never goes to the beach in August. She prefers a quiet beach. The other question that's come in this morning, and it is from Pam, and you might be able to answer this from your experience, Jackie. Are dogs allowed on the beach in summer? Strictly speaking, no, but you still see loads of dogs on the beach, don't you, in Portugal in the summer?
Well, if it's a beach with a lifeguard, they'll shoo you off. But there
Okay.
are beaches in Guinchu that don't have lifeguards. And so we'll spend the day on the beach with our dogs.
Yep.
You just have to make sure there's no lifeguard. But it's so interesting even about dogs and the attitude in this country about dogs. For instance, if you rent an apartment in this country, and you don't mention that you have a dog and go through the process, they can't remove you for having a dog
Right.
unless they put that into a contract prior.
Yep.
And so I'm a dog person, so I'm very sensitive to the way in this country is about dogs. And just recently they changed the law that allows dogs in restaurants, but it's up to the proprietor.
Yes.
So it used to be you cannot legally bring a dog into a restaurant. Now
Mhm.
they're like, come in with your dogs. Come on, have lunch inside the restaurant.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that personally, if you're afraid of dogs, I could see that a problem. But I love it. It gives us another option. If you're a
Yeah, and
dog lover.
you would think, wouldn't you, in a civilized country where people are able to communicate with each other, that one, dog owners would be considerate and clean up after their pooches and don't let them run into your picnic while you're on the beach,
Yeah,
or
of
push your
course.
children over or whatever, like those sorts of things. Basically, well behaved. Um, and two, if there is a difficulty, like, I'm allergic to dogs, you mind keeping your dog away from me, that we can all manage that, and that we're not living in a world strictly run by rules and signs, that there is some happy balance to be struck, and that people can be civil and communicative with each other. I know it's easier, isn't it, sometimes to just have a sign up and laws like, binary things. This is allowed, this isn't allowed. But ultimately, that sort of world, I think, becomes quite an unpleasant and harsh place to live in, compared to people talking to each other about these things. May I bring my dog into your restaurant? Absolutely. Or actually, no, we would prefer not to. No hard feelings, and you just move on and find a restaurant that does take your dog.
But it's also a good idea to ask the people around you if it's okay. I
course.
agree with you. Like,
Yeah.
I'll ask everyone who's around me, is this okay? I mean, my dogs are small and they're quiet. Most people don't even realize they're there.
Yeah.
But I completely agree that we shouldn't legalize good manners. It should be,
Well, that's a brilliant way of putting it.
oh, well,
Yes.
thank you.
Yeah. But that's the
And-
way things are headed, I think, isn't it?
I think by allowing dogs in restaurants, maybe they've taken a step back.
Yes.
But I do like that kind of more welcome feeling, because even in the US, dogs are becoming more and more welcomed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think after the
Interesting stuff.
pandemic, so many people got dogs for
Yeah, it's true.
comfort.
Yeah.
And so that now there are more dogs than ever, and everywhere across the world, because of the pandemic.
Yeah. Same with smoking, isn't it? But it's great if people say to you, do you mind if I smoke? And if you say, yeah, I do actually, it's going to cause me to have a fit or an
Yeah,
allergic
yeah.
reaction. They don't. And that's the world I want to live in. It's like, people talking to each other and asking for permission, or not permission, but seeking, cooperation, and making things okay, rather than, the funny thing that happens often with smoking is people light up and make a sort of faux gesture of blowing the smoke away so it doesn't go to you. But there's something about sitting around a campfire or near a smoker where you seem to be a lightning rod or conductor for smoke. I've noticed this, or occasionally being behind a smoker in the street. Smokers, by the way, sometimes when you billow out a massive blast of smoke, it does go into the face behind you. You might want to take a look at that. And if someone's coughing loudly, it might be me, as I sometimes like to do, and fall to the ground as though I'm having some sort of what's it called, where I need my EpiPen.
Have
Anyway,
you ever smoked?
used to love it. Yeah, actually, I'm really not that reformed smoker who makes a big deal about it. But it's all within that conversation that we're having of people being a little bit more considerate towards each other, rather than the legalization of good manners. I really think that's brilliant how you put that.
And also, when you ask people around you, it's a starting point of a great conversation. A lot of times we get, no, we love dogs. Can we see your dog? Can we pet your dog? And we make friends.
Yes.
Because we were considerate enough to ask if it was okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And we all want to make friends with considerate people, right?
Yes, yeah. Or no, I'm sorry, I'm allergic to dogs. I'm going to come out in a massive rash. I'm good to know. We'll put the dog in the
Move
car,
that dog.
or move somewhere else. Absolutely right. I had not seen it this way, thanks to Pete. Lucky we don't charge you for all that passive smoking, Carl. Well, I'm obviously saving a lot of money, aren't I? Not having to buy my own cigarettes and smoking other people. So cheers, Pete, for that. Philomena had a great insight here. There are two reasons why Portuguese spend their holidays in the country. First, Portugal is beautiful and we have lovely and different places to visit. And two, lots of Portuguese can't afford going abroad. There is that, of course, as well. Thank you, Philomena. Great to have you here this morning. I also just go to the Algarve in winter or spring. Pam saying she never goes to the beach in August, prefer a quiet beach. There's plenty of those, it has to be said as well. And Antonio, on the matter of dogs on beaches, I believe there are restrictions. You have to check the signs by the beach. And I think people are quite relaxed about that here in Portugal, it has to be said. Jean saying, the dogs I encounter in town generally seem well behaved and depends on the dog too. I think that's one, whether allowed on the beach. I wouldn't take my Jimmy Choo big dog to the beach because he's a pain in the butt in social situations, but you would barely notice it if I took Peggy as I've done into the Vasco da Gama shopping center under my hat, as a public confession. I rarely have an issue with a dog. Virtually all my issues are with dog owners. A bit like cigarettes. I don't have issues with cigarettes. I have issues with smokers, says James there. And Sue's Taxi, my dog, has been to 5 or 6 of the meetups in San Martino de Porto. Well behaved, but was nice for me not having him the last time as well. The legalization of manners, very good, is necessary because by and large people are not empathetic or considerate of other people. At least that is my experience. Sorry to hear that, Marcus.
Yeah.
And it is a balance we are striking as we speak in societies and cultures all around the world. It's an interesting one. And is that your phrase, Jackie, the legalization of manners, or is this a social phenomenon from America that I'm not familiar with?
I might have heard it. I just said it, just came up with it to the best of my knowledge, but I'm sure it's been used.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that people can learn to be more empathetic and that we don't have to know what to do by reading loads of signs around us. That's not a future I fancy particularly, but I totally get your point, Marcus. Absolutely. We were going to talk about expats Portugal, Jackie.
Yes,
Got distracted.
Yeah, always a great conversation. Always.
Sorry about that. Got distracted again. If you do want to sign up for Expats Portugal, the link is on the screen now, and you'll get a bunch of discounts from everything from the soup to the nuts of moving to Portugal, a phrase that Jackie introduced me to. And we'll have a quick skim through the business directory. These are the discounts and perks you'll get on various purveyors of professional services over at Expats Portugal. And you were on the team. How did you get to be involved with Expats Portugal in the first place, Jackie? I don't think we've had this conversation.
You know, it's funny. I was at a luncheon, and Astrid was, and she's on the team. I just started talking to her, and I asked her what she did, and she started to explain to me what she did at Expats Portugal. And what's interesting is that I had known about, lawyers for immigration. I knew about money exchange. But what was so unique was what they were doing in terms of, in many ways, a team approach to this. And how it was all vetted by the members. And I think this week we went to 13,000 members.
Yep.
So I remember saying, wait, that's a job? And she goes, she says, yeah, this is my job. I said, that sounds so fun. I said, have you ever thought of hiring anybody else? She goes, well, we have, as probably everybody knows, the increase in Americans in the last year is 40% up. She goes, well, we are looking for, to engage the American audience, the community. I said, I'd love to talk to you about it. And it kind of does fit into what my last job was. And you've probably heard, of course, you've heard the BBC. Everyone's heard of the BBC. So in the US, we have National Public Radio. Have you heard about National Public Radio?
NPR.
Yeah, I worked for the largest content provider for NPR. I was consultant for WBUR.
Okay.
And what I did was I built audience. And so this felt kind of similar to what I had done before.
Right. Okay.
And so one of the great things about radio is you're very, very heavily tracked, right? Nielsen, Arbitron ratings, so they could always judge my success. And what's happening with Expats Portugal, in the last month, we have started to explode. I mean, we're looking at the numbers and we're like, wow, there are a lot of new members joining, such an unexpected amount at this point. And I think that more people are recognizing the need for this kind of team approach if you're going to move here.
Yep. Yeah, and you've gone quite intimate and personal as well, haven't you? I know that with the premium membership, there's a one-to-one service now, isn't there? You're really getting to understand what people want in a one-to-one or 1-to-2 sometimes conversation. That's two people, isn't it, from Expats Portugal and the client, or maybe the two clients in a partnership, finding out
Yeah.
what you need and then putting together a kind of package, tailor making the package for people.
So when we do individual consultations, and what's great about doing the consultations is we get information. Like, you don't know sometimes what you don't know.
Always, yeah.
And so we'll start talking to people from anywhere from what brought you here, what it basically your hopes and dreams when you come here, and what challenges, and where are you on your journey.
Yeah.
And just by kind of asking those kinds of questions, it's a great opportunity to get to meet people and learn about, our members. And it's also a fun way to make friends. Last week with somebody from my town in Massachusetts, Marblehead, turns out we had all the same friends. And Jerry, we were both doing it together. He's like, okay, stop gossiping. We have to help
We've got
these
work
people.
to do.
Yeah, we have work to do, but it's a lot of fun. And again, it's a lot of team approach. So you might have a removalist that we could recommend, a great removalist, but they may have to contact your immigration attorney to figure, logistics out. Or Spartan has a relationship with your immigration attorney as well. And so you're figuring out when to move money. And one of the things that I think Jerry does great is that, as you've been to those dinners, we all get to know each other. And so we have this very, friendly kind of, I don't know, like, we have this great working relationship with each other. So people, when you're part of one team, they're like, okay, I'm going to call your lawyer, even though I'm doing this for you,
In a good
because
way.
because I think your lawyer could be helpful in this area, and we could figure this problem out together that you might be facing.
Yes.
So you'll have this really great team approach often when needed. And I don't see that anywhere else.
Well,
You're
you're right.
always the one doing that.
Yeah, it's the teamwork making the dream work. Here they are, some of them. Quite a few of the folks you've mentioned are here on the business directory, expatsportugal.com. People can find out about schools, flying their pooch. That was a fascinating webinar a few weeks ago.
That was really
flying your
fun.
pooch on K9 jets. Peter and Elise, of course, at the Portugal company buyers agents. Reyes and Pelicano. Daniel Reyes, of course, will be our guest tomorrow night, talking about citizenship, becoming a citizen here in Portugal with Daniel Reyes. Moving and shipping, as you mentioned, the Sovereign Group. We've got EI, the mega stars of migration to Portugal within the Expats Portugal team. And of course, tomorrow evening, somebody from EI will be joining us for the Dream Team session at 9. Coarbit Realty, they're also buyers agents in the Lisbon area. Global International Relocation, Luis Duarte, we spoke to a couple of weeks ago on the Dream Team. People for insurance, Spartan Effects, you mentioned, Greenback, Expat Tax Services, Serenity, big favorite among people, Serenity, helping people engage with the health systems here in Portugal. Martin Jarl, love a bit of Martin Jarl from time to time. Another school, Wiley's there. We haven't seen on the screens recently, but Wiley's there too in Cascais.
Have we seen Nuno at Win Insurance yet?
I think are we in alphabetical order here? We might be. We might see him closer to the bottom. AFM, who people use, of course, to get their finances in order. Crad, Daniel, the wonderful architect. Holborn, the Golden Visa folks. Casa Portuguesa. The list goes on. And if you want a mortgage Direct SL, there's Rehabilitajo, of course, helping you assess properties and get involved in renovation. There's Winsurance. There's ACP as well. Mia, who will teach you how to speak Portuguese, how to watch TV from countries including the UK, USA, Australia on My Expat Network, a television and network service, internet service as well there. And Astrid will even cook for you as part of this team. You can book Astrid to come and cook at your house. This is amazing. So could you tell us, in conclusion, could you tell us a little bit more about the premium membership and how that works and how people get their discounts?
Consistently what I've noticed is the discounts more than pay for, if you join a premium member, I believe it's $197, but you get more than that in the discounts. And if you're going to use the services, it makes perfect economic sense.
Yeah.
Additionally, you get to go on the webinars. You have first choice. So if there's a webinar that's really something you want to be involved in, as a premium member, you have that option to raise your hand to speak directly to, like tomorrow, if you wanted to speak and you're a premium member, to the attorney about citizenship, that's one of the privileges of membership. And I think that also the consultation, because again, it's the you don't know what you don't know. And with that consultation, we kind of do a deep dive with you individually to understand what your needs are. And sometimes people don't realize what their needs are because they don't understand how, in what degree this, to what degree this is a different system they're working under now. So, for instance, you're getting, I spoke to this on an earlier show, but you're getting, let's say, a bank loan. There's going to be an assumption that with a bank loan, you're going to get a surveyor because that's the way it always works in the US. It doesn't work that way here.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to understand there's a different system here, and let's get you connected with somebody that's going to recommend a great surveyor in your area. Or just like I said, with getting a dog, the inside scoop is you don't mention it. I mean, you know, people go, how could I get a lease that allows me, an apartment that allows me to have a dog in the apartment? You don't mention you have a dog. That's how you get this going. I mean, so there's so many ways that every system is different, and that we'll have a consultation, we'll explain those kind of differences in a way that you can best work within this new system and create a team to help you do that.
And some cracking reviews here, Jackie. And they're fresh too. We've been researching a move to Europe for 5 years and have looked at them, followed several expat sites. Yours is by far the best I've encountered and the most informative. I've also found it to be trustworthy. Thank you for what you do. Ken Porter, for another 5-star review. So some great reviews there at Expats Portugal. Well, link on the screen for joining up. I've taken you past 10 o'clock here. It's 5 past 10, Jackie.
I'm sorry, just one last thought. One of the reasons I think really that makes Expats Portugal different is that we're vetted by the community. Yeah. There's 13,000 members. If our community says, you know, has any problem with anyone for any reason, we address that immediately.
Yes.
And so we're working for our members. And I think that's a very different kind of approach.
Yeah, absolutely agree. There's the link. Sign up there, expatsportugal.com on the screen for you right now. You can't go until you've heard the dad jokes, I'm afraid. Jackie, are you open to these?
Yes. Sure.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. It's been great talking to you. And maybe we'll see you next time. I think you're going to go down the computer shop now and get yourself.
I think so. I think it's time.
Okay. We've been talking a lot about sleep recently. I got alibi and lullaby mixed up. And now the detective's asleep. There you go. It takes a bit of working out, that one, doesn't it? If someone calls you fat, just ignore them. You're bigger than that. That's good. I'm not hearing Jackie laughing at all.
Actually, I was laughing at that one, but I think it's wrong to laugh at that one.
I'm not sure. You muted yourself very politely. Very good. Let's see if
that's okay.
I think we're both going to laugh at this one. I almost gave up hope of winning sorry, let me start that again. I almost gave up hope of winning the annual flatulence contest, but then I got my second win. Very good. It's all right to laugh at that. Everyone laughs at that.
Wait, that's my junior high school sense of humor right there.
Of course.
That's
I'm so glad, to have unleashed it and given that a second win this morning. Jackie, great fun. Thanks for being here. We'll see you again next Wednesday.
All right, bye. See you.
Right. I know it's 5 past 10, guys. But we have a song to play for you. And why would I say but when I could say and? Here we go with a beautiful song, and we'll take a look at the a few of the quiz questions because I haven't got a video for this one. All I have is the tune, and it's enough, quite frankly. So you don't have to look at the screen anymore for the remainder of the show. If you do, you'll see a few Learn About Portugal quiz questions. This is John Daddy-O Clark, to give him his full name. He's a good mate, and he sends music to us that we will be playing. I've played his tunes on other shows I've done, and we'll be playing his original music here on the Good Morning Portugal show. His offering today is Please Listen to Me, 2023 version. Here we go. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow with that American in Portugal, Veronica, and the British gentleman in Lisbon, Carl Hyde. See you tomorrow for some of that. But don't go anywhere. Have a listen to John Daddy-O Clark, and Please Listen to Me.
You're looking for signs, reading between all the lines. You've made up your mind what I'm gonna say before I open my mouth. Please listen to me, because you can't see the wood for the trees, and it takes more than one swallow to make a summer. You tell me your love is mine, and then you hurt me the rest of the time. You've made up your mind, then you start to change. How can you wonder I cry? Please listen to me, because you can't see the wood for the trees, and it takes more than one swallow to make a summer. In the back of our minds, we're all looking for someone to be patient and kind to us, someone to love, someone to trust. Please listen to me. In the back of our minds, we're all looking for someone to be patient and kind to us, someone to love, someone to trust. Takes more than one swallow. When I think everything's fine, you tell me you feel bruised and maligned, and you've made up your mind all I say and do will bring more sorrow and pain. Please listen to me, because you can't see the wood for the trees, and it takes more than one swallow to make a summer. In the back of our minds, we're all looking for someone to be patient and kind to us, someone to love, someone to trust. Listen to me. In the back of our minds, we're all looking for someone to be patient and kind to us, someone to love, someone to trust. Takes more than one swallow.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.